To the extent that you're coming in with this assessing checklist mindset, and the more you're like, no, I don't want that, go away, bad, 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 suppress, like the more it's
Yeah.
probably going to actually be present in your mind.
Yeah.
So like I would say, let's just acknowledge that that's happening and going to
Yeah.
happen. And it's not, let's also not actually make it wrong, right? It's like
Mhm.
you actually do have to have some kind of discriminating,
Yeah.
mindset to some extent. It's like you're not just going to couple up with anybody, right? It's like there has to actually
Right.
be some, you know, sort of process there for determining proper sustainable compatibility, which comes with time. And then, even throughout a long-term relationship, you're still kind of like assessing, are we a good fit? Are we a good match? Am I feeling fulfilled? Is my partner fulfilled? And then being able to actually like check in on that and respond to that and keep that as a thread, so you don't just get stuck in something endlessly without actually applying some discrimination to whether or not it's a fulfilling experience. So I think it's sort of in the metaphor of like the court of your mind, of your being, of your consciousness. It's a valuable counselor to be providing information as to the nature of this connection. But
Mhm.
what we're trying to encourage is, well, first off, that that's not the only counselor, right? Like in the court, just one of several that's informing you as to the nature and feeling and experience of this connection, and that the connection isn't measured by whether there's immediate or near immediate romantic sparks. Like there could be a meaningful connection there that may not be taking the form of that, and probably won't be taking the form of that up front, but may lead to either a beautiful friendship down the road, which I've definitely experienced, or may lead to a slow burn, gradual romantic unfolding over many interactions, which is actually, I think, the much more human, organic way of unfolding into and transitioning into partnership. I don't believe in this immediate, oh my God, you're love of my life. That is just projection up the ass. That is what that is. That is not
Yeah.
real. Right? That is a fairy tale that is doomed from the beginning, right? Like, in fact, if you feel that immediate, like, oh my God, like the love of my life just walked into the room, like immediately a massive red flag should go up in your mind, right? And be like, no, I'm gonna hold that with great scrutiny, and yeah, like I don't.
It's time to call the advisor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Those are like wounds speaking
yeah,
usually.
yeah. No,
Ah, this feels so good.
for sure.
Uh,
Yeah, exactly. Where people are susceptible to those. I think the longing is real. The longing to meet that whatever, quote unquote, perfect, compatible, attractive soul partner. Right? It's like that longing is real, right? And and that, because it's real, it's like we're wired to like be oriented to, or to recognize, or to want to call that in. There is something that lives in us of this vision of this soul level, beautiful partnership, right? So that is real. I just think it's just so easily imposed and projected onto every, it's way too often. Either that or total rejection, right? So either one or the other. It's like this person, it does not meet my fantasy of the soul partner, so write them off immediately. Or oh my God, they do. Like I'm already falling in love in the first minute. These fantasies are like internal sort of like theaters within us, like, and the other person is like a role within that
mhm.
sort of fantasy theater that lives in us,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
like in within the vision of that theater, we've already sort of constructed these scenes that make up that play, right? That the other person's cast in, right? And then yeah, we have that experience of like, yeah, wow, this is the person. Like this is like the person that it perfectly fits and slots into these scenes and scenario and play that I've constructed in my imagination, right? And then inevitably, obviously, like that person is going to go against their script, the script that we've designed for them,
Yes.
right? In our
Like,
fantasy. And we're like, you're not playing it right. Like, what do you, you're supposed to be saying these lines, right? Like, stars in your eyes, and we're supposed to be looking out at, the sunset and falling in love, and like you're not doing it right, right? And that man, like that happens so often, and then either we're like all sad and disappointed, and then start to reject the other person, or we try to continue to pressure manipulate them into playing the role that we've cast them in, and either way it's gonna fall apart, and then we're all disillusioned and everything, so yeah, so I think it's super important to be mindful of how these fantasies and internal plays and the roles that we cast other people in play out, on dates and relationships. And Carl Jung, who I'm a big advocate and student and follower of, he said every relationship begins in projection. Like, period. Like, it does. It's not that it never, it's not that it doesn't, it does. And so you have to go in understanding that both of you are projecting onto each other, these internal roles, without a doubt, right? And the goal of conscious relationship is to identify and then reclaim those projections from each other and integrate them back into their source, which is you, so that you can ultimately see the other person as the true other that they are, which is messy and unpredictable and idiosyncratic and challenging and triggering, and all the things that make us the unique, complex humans that we are. And that's the makings, actually, of a real and fulfilling and whole relationship.